Hello my friends, so welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about my financial predictions for NVIDIA and Forex. So all of you know my predictions extremely accurate, guys. Look at this. Today is Monday 25 of November. We had another, it's been consecutive red days ever since the last Friday and technically some other days, like for example on Thursday. But yet again, guys, another very powerful correction. This correction is actually putting us in a level very similar to the first day of the month. So we're already back to square one, basically. This is so far a yellow month. It's been a very, very powerful correction. I actually told you that this will be the worst case scenario. And it's actually panning out. It's just happening right before our eyes. So I don't know what to tell you guys. I told you that this will happen. There was the possibility of very powerful corrections. I told you, for example, that on the last days of the month, of the last week, on Thursday and Friday, we could see red energies, 21, 22. This is 21, very volatile day, kind of recovers, but the recovery is not enough to actually go and recover all of the losses of this massive red candle at the beginning. And on the 22 Friday, it's just a straight up correction. The price non-stop goes down. And today it's also another non-stop correction. The price very volatile in the first hour, just like I told you, this was going to be a very volatile day. 25 shared by two circles of opposite energies. You know that always means extreme volatility. Look at this, the price just dumps massively in this first hour, and after that it doesn't do much and trades and even continues dipping lower. So very, very powerful red day. I'm getting kind of worried now because the next day is technically also red on the 26th and also on the 27th and potentially even the 28th. So in the absolute worst case scenario, like the absolute worst, we could see 3 consecutive red days, not counting this one. Not counting this one, guys. The other 3 days could be red consecutively. And this, depending on how powerful the corrections are, will maybe put us in a much lower position than the initial one, or the one that we saw on the 31 of October. Maybe even all the way down to the lowest low so far in this recent timeline, which is on the 15th of October. And if it just collapses even more, it's going to be an emergency. Something is going on if it collapses all the way down to those levels. But yeah, I told you guys this will happen. This is exactly why I just took my profits in the last week on the initial uptrends that I told you that I will see, that I was seeing, that were very likely. I took my profits on the 19th of November because I told you that day was going to be very volatile. And the next day I also took some profits. On a hindsight, it was a really good decision. Back then I was kind of regretting that one, but I always take my profits and I always put my entries, all of my movements strategically according to the circles. I don't do any other thing. I only listen to my predictions, and that's why I'm always profitable. That's why I'm always gaining some money. And just like I told you guys last time, the last week was going to be one of the worst. This is looking like if it continues going down, it could be even worse. So this was to be expected. I told you that these 2 last weeks could be very, very dangerous. There were lots of reds and very few greens. The only real hope that I have is that on the last days of the month, like possibly the last 3 days, something like that, the last market days of the month, because this month right here ends on 29 of November, could be green because we have the last circle on green. Remember, that is also a very important pattern. Whenever that happens, powerful corrections or impulses, depending the case, are expected in the last days of the month. Not just the ones that are within the circle, but just also maybe other days. So yeah, that's my only hope, that we could see massive recoveries on these days, hopefully, that kind of heal all of the damage that we just suffer in these days. But I told you this will happen, guys. I literally told you with several weeks, with several days of anticipation. I told you this will happen. I told you be prepared for these 2 last weeks of the month. I hope you listen to me, because if you have, then you're probably also profiting, or at the very least, not losing that much money. But every other people, on my Twitter feed, for example, every other financial so-called YouTuber, so-called analyst, they're losing money, guys. They're losing massive amounts of money, which could have been avoided just by listening to me, just by doing the exact same thing that I told you. Just be prepared for these weeks. It was that easy. Anyways, guys, that's all I have for NVIDIA. Now let's take a look at the Forex chart. Before I continue detailing this chart, I just want to remind you all to subscribe, share, and like, share my stuff, watch my stuff, comment my stuff. So yeah. Okay, so for Forex, we have that today 25 and yesterday 24 was kind of a yellow day, slightly lower than the initial position, but it's basically a yellow day. But the 25, which begins right here and is currently trending right here, it's basically a very volatile red day. We can see powerful energies from both sides, recoveries, up and downs, all of that stuff. But the general trend for the day is a red one, and I think it will stay a red one unless something really dramatic happens in these last few hours of the day. So yeah, another very powerful correction on this Forex pair, USD against the Japanese yen. Of course, all of this, I told you this will happen, guys. All of this, I told you. The extreme volatility of the 24, where you have an equal amount of energies mixed in, red and green, basically a yellow day, but goes back to the similar position. And on the 25 for the red day, which is today. I mean, look at this, guys. I also told you this will happen, guys. My predictions are no freaking joke. Like, literally, guys. My predictions are not to be underestimated. They are the most accurate. I am the most accurate financial analyst. I don't even have like extreme years of knowledge under my belt about trading or financial systems or economy. I haven't even studied any of that kind of thing. And just looking at these guys, I mean, looking at my days, looking at my charts, looking at my weeks, my months consecutively, just, I don't know, man, this is amazing. And I told you this will happen. I told you, especially for NVIDIA, which is suffering really, really hard right now. I told you to be prepared for these months. But it's not all doom and gloom, guys. Remember, when we have very powerful corrections, usually those days are the best opportunities to make an entry, to make a position, in order to profit massively once the impulses start to happen now. But for Forex, just to finish this chart, the next days, it's going to be a range of days ranging from 26 all the way to 29, where it's going to be kind of undecided for Forex. We could see something like this, for example, something like the 24, where the price ends very similar to where it opens, something like volatility where a day is completely impulsive and the other following is a complete correction that erases all gains, and so on, right? So that's what we could expect for this range of 4 days. It's going to be kind of hard to define. It's going to be very volatile, I think, because this Forex pair specifically doesn't really have like literally no ranges. So it's just mostly just volatility, non-stop. So that's what we can expect. And for the first days of December, we have potentially very powerful impulses. Now, the hope, just like NVIDIA, is that since this is the last circle of the month, doesn't matter if it's covering days from the other month, the following month, December, it's the last circle of the chart. That always means that the pattern of that circle could be replicated in some fashion across other days. either before or after. So we have to be prepared for this. This is the hope that I have for both NVIDIA and Forex, and specifically, just very importantly, for NVIDIA. It really needs to recover in these days, otherwise it could be a real emergency. This was kind of unexpected for like absolutely everyone, except for me. Just like I told you, just like I just showed you, this was to be expected, guys. How many times do I have to tell you guys? Just trust me. My predictions are no joke. 90% accuracy on average. Just on average. Many of my predictions actually go all the way up to 100%. So yeah. Anyways, that's all I have for you. Again, I invite you all to subscribe, share, and like, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.